Peace, blessings, and abundance, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Birth Sessions. I am your host, Jessica Pierre, and we are on episode 2. I'm on a roll, guys. So today we are actually going to talk about, what are we talking about today? We are talking about the first call after a positive pregnancy test. So you just took a test. It's positive. Now what? There's so many different reactions that people give. Most people, their first instinct will probably be to panic and start Googling everything. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. First of all, take a deep breath. Things are going to be okay. So some people, when they first find out that they're pregnant, the first thing that they do, again, is call an OB immediately. Some people, they Google everything. Some people will tell a bunch of people and get 10, 12 different opinions. And then some people just start spiraling a little bit, even if they're excited about it. You can literally go from excited to overwhelm real quick, like this, seriously. So there's a lot of different options that you have when it comes to the first thing to do after you take a pregnancy test. So the first thing that I want you to do is actually focus on what actually matters in the moment, and processing everything is probably the key to everything. You don't have to rush into decisions immediately. Give yourself a couple days to kind of think about it. Do I want OB care? Do I want midwifery care? What do I want? Just overall, like, what is the overall experience that you want? Do you want to give birth in the hospital? Do you want to give birth at home? Do you want to give birth at a birth center? Like, what exactly are you looking for? Like, this is something to really think about as well. Like I said before, just thinking about your provider. Because honestly, an OB experience and a midwife experience, they're two different experiences when it comes to pregnancy and labor, and even, the postpartum side of things. So ask yourself and your partner, what environment do you feel the safest in? It would probably be a little early to hire a doula, but even if you just reach out, consult a doula within the first couple of weeks, that's a pretty good option as well. You have, so many different friends, and, you have friends who are moms or dads or just parents in general, and they have their opinion, they have their own experience, but what do you want for your experience? Try not to take into consideration what everybody else went through. Also, try to forget what you've seen on TV and movies. That is not how birth works. So take that into consideration. So the early decisions in pregnancy, it pretty much shapes everything. So who are you going to choose as your provider? Your provider is like your therapist, is like your partner. Like, you gotta kind of go on dates, you gotta ask questions, you gotta make sure. So like, again, me being a doula, what I do when I get a referral for a client is we have our initial meeting. We don't go over any education or anything. We have what we like to call a vibe check, just to make sure that I know what it is you want, you know it, you get to know who I am as somebody who's going to be working with you, teaching you through your pregnancy journey and guiding you through all of this. So kind of just slow down, do your research on the different providers, check what OBs do, check what midwives do, think about, again, where you plan on giving birth, and that kind of information you're consuming early on is super important. Those few decisions, they set the tone for your whole pregnancy, whether you realize it or not. So please take that into consideration. At the end of the day, you have to make these decisions in a grounded environment, a grounded mindset. Bring that grounded energy that you naturally have to the forefront. Like, I want you to understand that you don't have to figure everything out on day one. There's a lot of decisions to make, especially early on, but you don't have to make that decision on day one. If you're planning on getting pregnant, of course, you can do your research ahead of time. But if you didn't plan this pregnancy and you found out that you're pregnant, it's okay. Take a couple days to process it. Like I said earlier, process it. You're pregnant. Okay, cool. Now what? Hopefully you have a partner with you so that you can have these conversations and get their input. Do your research together so that you guys are all also on the same page. You actually have space to make those intentional choices. So keep that at the forefront of your mind. So this is really where your awareness begins. Just understanding your options before you start being guided into them by your provider, whichever provider you choose. That's super important. When I found out that I was pregnant, I was 19 at the time, so I was pretty young, and my son's father was not in the picture. He was there when I found out I was pregnant, and then 2 weeks later he was arrested and was gone for my entire pregnancy. So I had to figure everything out on my own. I don't even know how, but I had OB care, and looking back, it kind of sucked how these doctors' offices do this. Like, you have one OB, you'll meet one OB this week, you'll meet another new OB the next meeting, and you'll meet the next. Like, it's a whole practice. So the care itself was never anything consistent, which for me personally, I didn't care for, but at that time I didn't know I had options. So again, take all of those things into consideration. Having the same provider usually helps out in the long run, and hopefully that provider will be the one to deliver your baby as well. But there's so many different choices that you can choose from, but take the main takeaway I want you to take from this is to take the time to process all of this. A positive pregnancy test can mean the world to some people, and then it could also mean your world is crashing for others, depending on your situation. But taking time to process, to see what it is that you want to do, which direction you would like to take, have those conversations with the close family and friends around you. Now there's information everywhere. Hire a doula. I know that might sound like real biased because but definitely hire a doula. Do you want a natural birth? Do you want a vaginal birth? Some people want to have a C-section. Some people want to have a natural birth to where they don't have access to any medications, and those are the people that probably will choose a home birth or a birth center birth. So then there's some people who are like, okay, I know I'm gonna have a baby, I know what this could possibly feel like, let's go to the hospital so they can give me all the medications I need because I don't want to feel nothing. So wherever you are, think about all of that and make those decisions from there. Ask all of the questions. There are so many different options when it comes to prenatal care, and none of it is a luxury. It's all something that we all deserve. So take that into consideration. Make sure that you are making informed decisions. Ask all of the questions. Think of all of the different scenarios. And if you don't know questions to ask, this is again why I say hire a doula or talk to a doula. Talk to somebody who's been through the process before. Preferably somebody who didn't have any birth trauma that's going to sway your decision in any way. But there's a lot of information out here. So if you just found out that you're pregnant, take a breath first. Take a deep breath and then process it. Sleep on it. Do what you need to do. You do not have to rush the process. Hey, real quick, before we close out, I had to end this episode a little abruptly, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for being here and tuning in. If this has helped you start thinking differently about your pregnancy journey, there's so much more I'll be sharing in future sessions. So make sure you're subscribed, and I will talk to you soon.